Okay, welcome to video 19. This is me learning how to use the Elektron Octatrack Mk.II, and I'm showing you what I learn as I learn it. So off camera I'm using an Elektron Digitone 2 and I'm using a Teenage Engineering OPXY. The Digitone 2 is plugged into the AB inputs and the OPXY is plugged into the CD inputs. If I hold the B button in, you'll see that I've used 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, and obviously 1 is for the A. I always leave the A as the kind of normal unaltered version of things, and the B is obviously the change. So let's have a look at what we've got here. Right, a few setup things here. The Octatrack is sending MIDI to both devices via a MIDI Solutions MIDI through box. Make sure the Digitone is receiving clock and transport and that the Octatrack is sending it. The OPXY receives both by default, I think. If it isn't, it can be easily turned on using the COM page on that device. Make track 8 a master track on the Octatrack and set effects 1, let's go to that, as a DJ equalizer. Make sure that you have the delay control in focus so that you can do all your nice freeze control effects. If you go to project and come down to MIDI and come over to first of all control, yes, make sure the audio CC out is set to internal, and I set the audio note out to internal to make sure that you're not sending any control change messages to the external devices. I found in another video that I was turning up my delay and my reverb on my OPXY in that way. Come out of that, and obviously in the sync I've got the transport and the clock both sending out to the devices and the receiver is turned off. Not that that matters, there's nothing plugged into the MIDI in of the Octatrack. Come out of that. If I hold function and page, you'll see I've set the pattern scale to 64, so it's a 4-bar pattern. I've set the tempo to 112, it's a nice tempo for this. Now make track 1 and track 2 through machines. They've got a T there because we're bringing instruments into the Octatrack to process, so obviously we need through machines for that, and I've spoken about this in previous videos. So track 1 is for the Digitone, track 2 is for the OPXY. Track 3 is a static track, and on that track I've recorded just a simple 4 on the floor pattern for the 4 bars. This is just as a kind of guide, and I've used one of Electronic Sound's excellent kick drums for that. On track 1, on the source page, which we're on here, I've set the in AB to AB, so we're getting audio into the input AB from the Digitone, and on track 2 it's set to CD, so we're getting the audio from the OPXY into inputs CD. Now let's go back to track 1. So if we go to the amp page, you see I've turned the volume up to plus 63 and the balance to plus 63 as well, so I've got it hard panned. If I go to track 2, you'll see the balance is minus 64, so I've got the 2 instruments in the 2 speakers hard panned so we can clearly hear the difference. On track 2, if I go to effects 1, I've set that to phaser, but effects 2 is delay as it is on track 1. Now if we press play on the Octatrack, we'll hear both devices. Okay, so I've got the freeze control set up on the master track. These tracks 9 to 16 are actually tracks 1 to 8 when you come to do the freeze control. So 16 is actually 8, the master track. So I do all my freeze stuff on this track. We'll do a bit of freeze delay stuff first. Set it to 1, 2. Change it to 1, 3. So that's good fun, isn't it? I never miss an opportunity to use the freeze control, as you know. Okay, so now for the crossfader. Now in all the examples the A position is the normal, like I said, although it doesn't have to be. You can always set things on the A position as well if you like. If I press the B button, you see the 9 is lit up. So on this control I'm going to have a different EQ on both the devices, and I'm going to mute the kick. If I just go to the mix control and turn off the two external devices, you'll hear I've got a kick drum running the whole time. Okay, and that's in the Octatrack. That's a sample on the Octatrack. Put those back in. So when I move the crossfader over in this position, we're going to hear the EQ change on both devices, and you'll hear the kick disappear. So let's just run it. So here we go. Now with the crossfader over in the B position, we can still use the freeze delay. So how did I set this one up? So on track 1, on the amp page, this is the digger tone, remember. If I press and hold the B, you'll see what I've changed. I've changed the volume. I brought it down to plus 48 because when we change the EQ so dramatically, it can make the volume jump up and cause distortion. So I brought the volume down a bit there. On track 2, same page, hold the B button down. You'll see I've done the same thing there. Anything you change with the button pressed down is highlighted black on white. On track 8, if I go to track 8, you'll see that if I go to effects 1, which is the DJ equalizer, if I hold the B button down here on the DJ equalizer on the master track, you'll see I've dramatically changed the EQ to give it that famous DJ kind of thin middly sound. Okay? Obviously you don't see what's changed unless you hold the button down. That's good. Now if I go to the amp page on the kick drum, track 3, that's the kick drum in the Octatrack, hold the B button down, you will see that I've turned the volume right down. So when the crossfader comes over to the B position, the kick drum disappears because there's no volume at all on it. Although it's still running, we don't hear it. So let's just try that again. Actually a halfway setting is quite nice. Let's just run it again. So if I go halfway, that's quite nice, isn't it? It's a change of tone without being too dramatic. All the way over, of course, we get there. So there's one example. Let's go to a different setting now. Let's go to B10, so hold the B button down and 10. Now we've got a different set of parameters. With this setting, we're going to EQ both the devices in the same way as we did in B9, but we're going to have phaser and delay on the OPXY, and the kick once again is muted. So if I go to the OPXY, which is track 2, go to effects 1, it's phaser, hold the B button down, you'll see I've changed those controls. Now if I go to the delay, hold the B button down, I've changed that as well. So we're going to have delay and phaser effects on the OPXY when we move over, but the digger tone in track 1 will be unaltered and we won't hear the kick in the Octatrack anymore. So let's just run this. Here we go then. you hear that kind of analog noise as you change over, which is not unpleasant, is it? But this is the sort of thing you used to get in the old-fashioned delay pedals back in the 70s and 80s when you changed your levels. So that is B10. Let's go to B11 now. So hold the B button down, press 11. Here we're going to have delay on the digitone. We're going to mute the OPXY and the kick. So if we go to track 1, go to the delay, which is effects 2, hold the B button down. You see I've got the feedback turned up to 82, the send up to 65. So we're going to have some delay on the digitone. If I go to the amp page here, I've turned it down again because of that spike we might get in the volume. And if I go to the delay effect, which is on 2, hold the B button down, I've cranked up the feedback and the send. On track 2, which is the OPXY, on the amp page, I've turned it all the way down so we won't hear it. And on track 3 again, on the amp page, I've turned the kick right off. So let's run this. So moving over, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we've got delay on the digitone, the OPXY is muted, as is the Octatrack kick. Right, that's B11, let's go to B12. Now here it's very simple, we're only going to hear the Octatrack kick. So if I hold B and 12, if I go to track 1, there's the amp page, hold the B button down, minus 64, track 2, minus 64, track 3, unaltered. So run it, everything in there, move the crossfader over, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just the kick drum in the Octatrack. Still do the freeze delay stuff. Next one is 13. Now here we're going to just simply mute the digitone. So if I go to track 1 and hold the B button down, you see that's minus 64. So this time when I move over to the B position, we will mute the digitone. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've only got the OPXY and the kick drum of the Octatrack. And our last example, 14, it's the other way around. So if we go to the amp here of the OPXY, you'll see I've turned the volume all the way down. So this time when I move the crossfader over, the OPXY will be muted, but we'll still hear the digitone and the kick drum of the Octatrack. Now I know you can mute things on the mixer, but this is a slightly more creative way of doing it, and obviously this is the tip of the iceberg. I refer to the guru of the Octatrack, EZBOT, who does some amazing things. You might have seen my video where I demoed his riser build-up effect, which you can buy from him of course. These are just simple ideas which you might want to run with and develop in your own way. So thank you very much for watching. If you got some benefit from this, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you want to give me a small donation, that would be lovely. You can do that here on YouTube or on my website, which is www.daddylonglegs.com. Thank you very much for watching, and you'll see me in my next video.